This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Rabbi Glatstein, Parshas Seitzei. Parshas Seitzei. We want to see what does Parshas Seitzei have to tell us about Chodesh Elul, about the Yom Noraim, and in our preparation for the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Very interesting Ramah. The Ramah says in Chodesh Mishpat, here you have a guy, he wore shatnez. So if our courts were strong enough, he would go to the court, we would have two Eidim, make him bend over, we give him some good zets, we give him malchus, right? Arba'im yaken. So the Ramah says, what do we do nowadays that we don't have bezdin? So what if a person doesn't have there, that he's liable to lashes? How can he gain kapara? Says the Ramah, Kasu ha'achroinim, b'tshuvaiseyam. Demi sheneschayev malchus yitain arba'im zehuvim b'malkai malchus. Someone who's chayev to me. No. So give it to tzedakah, I don't know. Doesn't say. Someone who's chayev malchus should give 40 zehuvim instead of malchus. Instead of either you get hit or you give money. Yeah, to a lot of people it's worse to have to give money anyway than to get hit. So therefore, the Ramah says you give 40 zehuvim. Of course we know, the pasuk says,
39.
V'hayim ben hakos harasha. If you're going to come to give malchus, v'hipilo ha'shofet v'yikol lefanov, the shofet casts him down, he smacks him, kedei rishasai b'mizbar, according to his wickedness by number, arba'im yaken olayay. The only thing is, that's what the Chumash says. But everybody knows that we don't give 40 malchus. Everybody knows how many malchus do we give? 39. Right? The Mishnah says, Kama malkin oisai, arba'im chasar achas. Shenemar, it doesn't say arba'im b'mispar, it says b'mispar. Arba'im minyan shehu samach l'arba'im. A number close to 40. Rabbi Yehuda Omer arba'im shleimois, 40. So I don't understand. The Ramah is paskening like, right? Ramah is paskening like Rabbi Yehuda. We don't pasken like Rabbi Yehuda. Everybody knows we pasken like the Chachamim, like the Tanakama. You only give 39 malchus. So why in the world nowadays, if somebody doesn't have there that is chayav malchus, why in the world should he have to give 40 gold coins? You should give 39 gold coins. What's Ramah talking about? And in fact, if you take a look in the Gemara says over there, my taima. What's the reason? What's the reason why we don't give 40? Iksiv arba'im b'mispar. 40 by number, havamina arba'im b'minyana. I would think by the number 40. Hashta d'chsiv b'mispar arba'im. Now that it says b'mispar arba'im, minyan shehu soikem es arba'im. It's a number that tallies up 40. It's a number that gets you to 40. Which number gets you to 40? 39. So Rabbi Glatstein, had we just read this Gemara, is 39 midairaisa or is 39 midrabanan? Midairaisa. The Gemara says it's a drasha. If it says arba'im b'mispar, I would have thought 40, but it doesn't say that in the Chumash. It says b'mispar arba'im. That means midairaisa. You only give 39. Now look at the next Gemara. Amarava kama tibshay sharinshi. Look how foolish people are. The kaimi mikami sefer Torah. They stand up for a sefer Torah. But like kaimi mikami gavarabba. They don't stand up for a Talmud Chacham. But a Talmud Chacham is better than a sefer Torah. Why? Because the sefer Torah says you have to give 40 lashes, and the Talmud Chacham says you only have to give 39 lashes. So who's better? The one that gives less zets, not the one that gives more zets. The Torah says you got to give 40 malchus. The Chacham says you give 39. So how come people, when the Sefer Torah is taken out of the Aron, all of a sudden every guy, doesn't matter what he's doing, even if he's talking, he'll still stand up for the Sefer Torah. And when the Talmud Chacham walks into the room, people turn around, they look the other way. Well, what's pshat? People are foolish. That's what the Gemara says. Rabbi Glatstein, is that a D'Rabbanan D'Kasvara or a D'Oraisa D'Kasvara?
The Rabbanan.
Yes.
Who makes 40 into 39? The Torah or the Rabbanan?
The Rabbanan.
Clearly, the Gemara is saying the Rabbanan. Because people stand up for Sefer Torah. They don't stand up for the Chacham who says, I don't care what it says in the Sefer Torah, it's only 39. So the Gemara is a little bit of a steer minei. First, the Gemara says it's a full-fledged drasha that you have to give not 40 but 39. And then Rava comes along and says, no, it's the Chachamim who say it.
Who makes the drasha?
Who makes the drasha? Okay, so you want to say really it's midaraisa, but the chachamim are the ones who are given license to make the drasha.
And the Rabbi Yehuda is not a Talmud Chacham.
So you want to say what? It's really midrabana. It's really midrabana. Okay, so let's see.
But Rabbi Yehuda, by the way, he says 40, like it says in the Torah. He doesn't deserve to extend that for. He's like I said.
Oh, Rabbi Yehuda, right?
He's grua. He's less only.
According to Rabbi Yehuda, if you don't stand up for Talmid Chachamim, you're not tipshai. You're wrong, but you're not tipshai. But according to the Chachamim, you're tipshai. Now it's Rabbi side. Based on this Gemara, it would seem from the first part of the Gemara that it's midai rice, so that you get 39 malchus. Rava comes along and says, no, it's the Chachamim who are the ones who bring it down to 39. So the question is, are they bringing it down to 39 on a dairaisa level, or is it really midairaisa you should get 40, and 39 is only midrabana? Let's take a look at the medrash. What's the inyan of the 40 malchus? And we'll see what does this have to do with Elul and the Yom Naram. Says the medrash, Arbaim Yakenu Lo Yosef, number 5. What's the inyan of the Arbaim? Keneged Arbaim Klalois Sheniskalalu Nachash V'chava V'adam V'adama. The Nachash got 10 curses. Chava got 10 curses. Adam got 10 curses. The ground got 10 curses. So Keneged all the Klalois, so you get 40 curses. U'pichsu Chachamim Achas Mishum Lo Yosef. The Chachamim knocked it down one because of Lo Yosef. So what is this mashma? That midairaisa you should get how many? 40, not 39. It's not a real drasha. The Chachamim were the ones who came along and said, we're going to knock it down to 39. Says the Marzav, it's machlokes. Is it Marzu or is it Marzav?
What is the difference?
When you read it, it looks like, Marzu. But the Meister's name was Zev Wolf.
Actually, they called him Marzu.
It depends. There's steers in the art scroll. He's called Marzu. What? Yeah. Anyway, Mishum La Yosef, because of Oid Sham, Pen Yosef Lahakos, Haresh Kavanas HaTorah Lihizoyer Bezeh. The Torah wants us to be careful. Uvehechrach Lastes Siyag Ladavar, and to make a guard. In other words, the Torah says give 40. But the Torah also says make sure you don't give extra. So since the Torah wants us to make sure we don't give extra, so Chacham say, how are we going to make sure we don't give extra? We are giving 39. This way, even if you give one extra, you're anyway doing what the Torah wants. What right do the Chachamim have to be Oiker Davar Min HaTorah? V'yesh kayach b'yad chachamim levatel mitzvah saseh b'sheva al taisa mishum geder shaloi saseh. In other words, very interesting. Says the Marzav, and the meaning of the medrash is like this: Midairaisa, you're supposed to get 40 malchus. The chachamim come along and say like this: if we're going to give 40 malchus, what happens if the guy says 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 2. Oh, you just interrupted me. 2, 3, right? And he's going to end up giving 41 malchus. He's going to end up giving 41. 2, 3, what?
1, 2, 3.
But when you
check them out.
When things could happen, and you lose count. You lose count. So therefore, if you only give 39, worst comes to worst, you're anyway getting what you're supposed to get midaraisa. What right do the Chachamim have to give to be oiker? They're being oiker b'sheva al tasa. Now, very interesting. So it comes out according to this. How many malchus do you get midaraisa? 40. The only reason you don't get, the Chachamim say don't get 40, is a geder of loisoisif. Look at it. This is exactly how the Rambam says it. Ketzad malkin es hamachuyev malchus. How do we whip someone? Kefi koichai. Shenemar, like it says, kedei rishasai b'mispar. V'zeh shenemar arba'im. This is what it means, arba'im. She'en moisifin al arba'im. We don't add to the 40. Afilu hayachazak abari kishimshan. Even if the guy is, strong like an ox. Aval poischin l'chalash. We give less to a weak person. Shem yakel l'chalash makarava v'aliyumes. Lefikach amru chachamim. Since we're allowed to give less, the chachamim said, afilu habari b'yoyser. Even the healthiest guy, makanas u'shoshim v'teisha. Why? She'em Yosef lai achas nimtzei shelahi kol el arba'im haruyos lai. So this way, if you add, you're anyway only giving him what he's supposed to get. So the Rambam writes very clearly. Midairaisa, you're supposed to get 40 makas. The Chachamim said, give 39 this way, even if you make a mistake, you're giving him what he deserves. So the Minchas Chinuch points out that according to the Rambam, the Gemara that darshans it from Arba'im, the Mispar Arba'im, it's not a real drasha. It's only an asmachta ba'alma, right? If you're going to say according to the Rambam, that the drash, that really Midaraisi is supposed to get 40. It's the Chachamim who knocked it down. So what do we do with the Gemara Malkus that darshans it from the Mispar Arba'im? You have to say it's asmachta ba'alma. Says the Minchas Chinuch, Mavur b'Torah de Malkus Arba'im. Ach Rabbanan Sfirulahu, the Ein Loikin El Alama Test, Chsiv the Mispar Arba'im, V'hu Limud Gamor. Minchas Chinuch starts off by saying this limud is a full-fledged drasha. Im Kain Min HaTorah Ein Loikin Rak Malkus Lamed Test. Midaraisi get 39. Says the Minchas Chinuch, but the Rambam doesn't say like that. Ach Rambam kan kasel lefikach amru chachamim magen azam tes v'hu legeder lavdei Yosef shalu lo yuchal lavdei Yosefa. So you have to say, he says a few lines down, the Soiver HaRambam the Drash Shazu Rak Asmachta. You have to say the Rambam holds it's only an Asmachta. So now we're going to deal with the following problem.
Asmachta mean what?
In other words, really Midaraisi you get 40. The Chachamim were concerned that if we give 40 you may add 41 and you'll be over a lot. So therefore they on their own said 39 and they found an allusion to it in the Pasuk.
But the Rambam said that is not to add up, he's saying may die.
That's what the Pasuk is saying.
You can make a get, you can make a get, you can make a siyag. That's still there, right?
I mean, the Torah itself is allowing the Chachamim to make a siyag more than just the regular siyag.
What about the whole concept that you can divide
No, Pashtus is the Torah is not saying, really it's 40, but we allow you to change what we're saying.
Maybe other rabbis, the Rambam verse of the Pasuk is telling you to make it 30.
But it says 40.
It's a different shiloh, but the Pasuk is still teaching you to make it 30. Right, it says 40.
But then it's not a geder. In other words, what's the starting point? If the Torah is saying 40...
Because the Rambam is learning, he's in Pshat in the Pasuk, is that sometimes you'll make a miscount and it'll end up being 40. The Torah didn't want more than 40. 40 is a max.
Okay, the Malbim says something sort of like that. We'll see. We may get to something like that.
What about the whole concept that it has to be divided by 3? And that's why it's like 40. 39, and then you can...
But the concept that it has to be divided by 3 is only after the fact that it's 39. But if it's 40, so then...
It's possible to divide it by 40.
Even Rabbi Huda says you give 40, either you divide it into 13, 13, 13, and the last one you find a separate place to give it. So that, according to Rabbi Huda, that last one is not part of the series, But does the person get it's not the full amount? Yeah, whatever the Chachamim mandate. Yes, he gets whatever he needed to get. But Rabbi say, according to the Rambam Shita, we understand the Ramah. If really Midaraisa, you're supposed to get 40 malchus. It's the Chachamim come along and say, you know what, we're afraid if you're going to give 40, you might accidentally give 41. So give 39 this way, even if you add one, you get 40. We understand that when it comes to giving money, when it comes to giving zehuvim, where there's no lav in the Torah of giving extra tzedakah, so it reverts back to the din daraisa of how many zehuvim? 40 zehuvim. Okay. But here's the following problem. Okay, this is a very big question, and it's kedai to know this yisayid. Rabbi say, we don't blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah when it falls out on Shabbos. Why not? Shema Yavirenu Dalet Amos. So ask the Taz, it's a very important piece in the Taz. If we're mevatel the mitzvah d'oraisa of shofar, and the Chachamim can be mevatel the mitzvah d'oraisa of shofar b'sheva al tasa because of gzeira, so then why do we ever blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Are you allowed to play clarinet on Yom Tov? No. Are you allowed to play piano on Yom Tov? No. Why not? We're afraid. Gezerah, D'Rabbanan, you might fix it.
About the French horn.
Well, you want to play that anyway. But
Could you?
no. But a shofar. What's a shofar? It's chachma ve'ina malacha. An instrument. Why are you allowed to blow shofar on Yom Tiv? Why don't we say we should make a Gzeira D'Rabbanan Shema Yisakein Kli Shiur? It's the same way we don't allow you to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah that comes out on Shabbos. We shouldn't allow you to blow shofar on any Rosh Hashanah. Because the same way you can't play piano on Rosh Hashanah, you shouldn't be allowed to blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Says the Taz, a major Yesod. What's the Yesod? The Taz wants to know like this. If a baby is born on Shabbos, when do you do the Milah on Shabbos? When do you do the Milah? Very good. On Shabbos. Why don't we say Shema Yavirena Dalad Amos? The same way you can't blow shofar on Shabbos, Gezeira D'Rabbanan. How are you allowed to do Milah on Shabbos? Good question, no? Amazing question. What's the answer? The answer is because the Torah says give Milah on Shabbos. Where does the Torah say it? It just says give Milah. There's a special pasuk that says Uvayim Hashmini Yima B'Sal Lasei, which is saying do it on Shabbos. So for the Chachamim to come along, even though they're only being Oiker B'Sheva Al Tasa, they're not saying actively violate the Torah. They're just saying sit back, relax, don't do anything. The Chachamim do not have the right to be Mavatel, even B'Sheva Al Tasa, if it's going to be Oiker a pasuk in the Chumash. If the Torah says B'Ferish, do Milah on Shabbos, the Chachamim cannot be oiker that under any circumstance. On Rosh Hashanah, all the Torah says is blow shofar. The Torah doesn't say blow shofar on Shabbos. So the Chachamim are not being oiker Tkiyah shofar. They're only being oiker Tkiyah shofar in a limited circumstance. They're not being oiker the pasuk. And what?
Here it says Ba'im.
Here it says. Oh, 1 second. So that's what the Taz says. When it comes to Milah, where the Torah specifically says do Milah on Shabbos, so the Chachamim cannot be Oiker B'Sheva Al Taisa. When it comes to Rosh Hashanah, they could be Oiker Shofar on Shabbos. But you want them to come along and be Oiker Shofar entirely because Shema Yisakein Kli Shiur. They can't do that. That would be an Akira of the entire Pasuk. So therefore, ask the Minchas Chinuch, based on the Taz, that according to the Rambam Shita, that really Midairaisa you're supposed to give 40 malchus. The Chachamim say don't give 40, give 39. Why? Because this way you might give extra. But what do you mean? You might give extra. But you're being oiker the pasuk Arbaim Ya'akenu entirely. The Chachamim, right? The Taz says Chachamim can only be oiker the Torah B'Sheva Al Taisa if the pasuk could still have some applicability in some instances. But if you're going to say always 39 because Shema Yosef, so this is like being Oiker Milah on Shabbos. It's like being Oiker Tkiyah Shofar on Rosh Hashanah. And the Minchas Chinuch ends off with the Tzarech Iyun. What is Pshat in the opinion of the Rambam? How could the Chachamim be Oiker the Torah entirely? The Torah says 40. So the Malbim is trying to answer this question. But let's take a look in the Chizkuni. Look at number 12. And the Chizkuni wants to know, the Torah says give how many malchus? 40.
He said,
the Torah says Lo Yosef. Asks the Chizkuni, why does the Torah have to say Lo Yosef? We already know. You're not to add to the Torah. You're not to subtract the Torah. Is there a special pasuk that says have 4 Parshas in the Tefillin? Don't have 5. No. If the Torah says 4, I already know. It says in V'aschanan, Lo Taisif, Lo Sigran. Don't add. Don't take away. Why does the Torah there's one mitzvah in the Torah where the Torah says, even though I already told you can't add to any of the mitzvahs, but I'm going to tell you about one specific mitzvah not to add to. Don't give more than 40 malchus. Ask the Chizkuni, Lo Yosef. V'aloi kfar nemar, lo yisifu al adar v'lo sigru menu. Im kein lo mechazav yamar Lo Yosef. Why does the Torah have to say Lo Yosef? I already know, black and white, you can't add to the Torah. Does the Torah say don't sit in two sukkahs, one within the other? Does the Torah say don't put on, 5 strings on one corner? I know that. Says the Chizkuni, Loi ma'alach. The Torah is saying, Shein chachamim rasham lahoisef. Chachamim are not allowed to add. Aval ligroya. But to subtract, harashus biyadam. The Torah says, right, we already know you can't add. Why does the Torah say again, you don't add? You know what the Torah is saying by saying don't add? Don't add, but yes, subtract. In other words, by all other mitzvahs, there's a general rule: don't add, don't subtract. Why dafka here does the Torah say specifically don't add? To say here don't add, but you can subtract. Here. Avalagroya harashus biyadam ulefikach hamid hakasiv ha'inyan b'makos haruyos lehishtalish. In other words, in this instance, it's not that the Chachamim are being oiker the Torah entirely. The Torah is giving license, right? The Torah is giving reshus to give less. Where does the Torah give reshus to give less? The Torah just says, Arbam Yaken Lo Yosef. The fact that we already know Lo Yosef, the fact that the Torah repeats, Lo Yosef is teaching me don't add, but you can subtract. Okay. Now, Rabbi said, conceptually, let's try to understand. What is the inyan of the 40 malchus that you really should have got, and the Chachamim said only 39? Very interesting. Ramban writes, look at number 13. V'tam ha'arban, kafi midrashay. Why do you get 40 malchus? L'fi sha'avar ala Torah shenitna ba'arbaim yoim. You're over the Torah. The Torah was given in how many days? Arba'im yom, arba'im layla. V'gara misa la'atzmai. You're also hurting yourself. Shenoitza la'arba'im yom. You were created in 40 days. So therefore, Yilka Arba'im, you should get 40 malchus. V'yetzei yidei anoshim, and you get off the hook. The Ramban says two amazing things. Why do you get 40 malchus? Number one, the Torah was given in 40 days. Number two, you were created in 40 days. Says Chassam Sofer, what's the nafkamina between these two answers? Whether it's to get kapara for violating the Torah, or it's to get kapara for destroying you, who were created in 40 days. Says Chassam Sofer, the nafkamina is very pashat. How many days was Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai?
40.
Arba'im Yoim v'Arba'im Laila. Were they complete 40 or, close to 40? Complete. How do we know they're complete? Because when the Chazal, Klal Yisrael thought Moshe Rabbeinu was coming down, because they thought in Laila Imai. So they saw Vayarham ki Voshish Moshe ki Bashesh. It's already the 6th hour. The 40 days are complete, but they didn't realize it was 40 Yom Shleimos. So if the malchus is to get kapara for the Torah, you need 40 malchus. But what if the purpose of the malchus is to get kapara for causing Hashem to create you for no good reason? How many days does it take Hashem to create a person? 40 days. But is it 40 complete days? No, it's not. You never know when the conception happened. It's usually not the very first moment of the night, right? It's already into the day. So if the reason for malchus is keneged the Torah, you need 40 yamim shleimim. If it's keneged Yitziras Havlad, you only need 39.
Why 39?
Why 39? Listen to this. This is Ayay Menayah. What's worse? To be mechalel the Torah, or to be mechalel yourself? To be mechalel your neshama. It is far worse for a person to destroy himself than to destroy the Torah. And therefore, says Chassam Sofer, you know what the Torah is saying? Kim le b'derabah b'nei. Kim le b'derabah b'nei. Yeah, you destroyed the Torah. You were mechal of the Torah that took 40 days and 40 nights, but you know what else you did? Look at number 15. Look on the 5th line. V'chein hu be'emes. V'ha deloy malkin be'emes mem keneged ha-Torah hainu mishum de kim le b'derabah b'nei. Listen to this. This is Ayay Menayah. The Masha Pagam Benavshay, the Pagam that you put in your neshama, who chait Yoiser Gadol, is a bigger sin. The Nefesh Yisrael Chashuva Yoiser. The soul of a Jew is more chashuv, he's saying even in the Torah. Ihayazoicha Liois Tzadik. If you would have been a tzaddik, you know what you're destroying? You're destroying Neshama Kadesha. The neshama is greater than the Torah. Why? Because the neshama is chelek elekam imal. The Torah is just the dvar Hashem. The neshama is chelek Hashem. So it's worse to destroy the neshama. That's the way I'm understanding it. It's worse to destroy the neshama than to destroy the Torah. So therefore, so Kimli, you're.
But it said that
You're being mechalel the Torah. You're desecrating the Torah.
But the Torah doesn't really get...
It's not getting desecrated. Neither does the neshama. We'll see.
But it said that the Torah.
Neither does the neshama. But you're being mechalel. In other words, it's worse to be mechalel the neshama than to be mechalel the Torah, and therefore you're going to be punished for the worst crime. Kimle. Okay, how this kimle? Also, you could think of it. Listen to this. It says Achsam Sofer. Now we understand the hemshech of the Gemara. Now we know how foolish it is not to stand up for a Gavra Rabbah, and to stand up for a Sefer Torah. Because you don't chap. Don't you understand? Why are you getting 39 Malchus and not 40? Because it's worse in the fact that you didn't make yourself into a tzaddik than being mechal the Torah. In other words, listen to this. Here you have a guy. The guy's supposed to get 40 Malchus. Why is he only getting 39? Because what we're telling him is, what you did, not becoming a tzaddik, is a lot worse than being mechal of the Torah. In other words, a tzaddik is more valuable than the Torah. So then look how foolish you are, that you stand up for the Sefer Torah, and you don't stand up for the Gavra. Okay? But this line of the Chsam Sofer is really Oyam V'Noya. Mashe Pagam B'Nafshoy Hu Ched Yoiser Gadol. The Nefesh Yisrael Chashuva Yoiser Yihaya Zoicha Liyas Tzaddik. It's mind-boggling. Okay. Now listen to this. Look at number 14 for a moment. Why is it that really you're supposed to get 40 Malchus, but instead of getting 40 Malchus, you get off the hook 39? So we know, one of the reasons Ramban said, how many days does it take Hashem to create a person? 40. What day does the neshama come into the body?
On the 40th day.
The 40th day.
The 40th day.
Right? It's not nicker, the zachar, so the nekar. It hasn't been the gender. Right? But the gender hasn't been the neshama of the child enters on the 40th day. Says the Gur Aryeh, the Maral. That means the first 39 days God is working on the guf. The 40th day God puts in the neshama. Now when a person does an avera, who deserves punishment? The body. The body is the one who has decided, who has pulled this entity to do the wrong thing. It's the nefesh, it's the desires of the guf that really need kapara. However, the neshama also needs kapara. Why? Because kol ha-mechubar l'tameh, tameh. Kol ha-mechubar l'tahar, tahar. The neshama is just joining in. It's just a shutaf, right? When the whole class misbehaves, even though you have a nice lemela in the back, who, is a goody-goody, nevertheless, when the Rebbe punishes a class, everyone's going to get punished. Why? But he didn't do anything wrong. He did. He's part of the class. But once all the mischievous kids are, this one's expelled and that one's expelled and this one's kicked out, and the nice little goody-goody is left in the class by himself, he's not going to get punished, because once all of his associates have been removed, he's pure. Says the Maral, how many malchus do we have to give this guy? 40. Why? 39 for the 39 days of the creation of the body, 1 for the creation of the neshama. So let's give him 40 now. 1 part of the guf is gone. 2, 3, 4, 5, 38, 39. Now the guf has been atoned for. Now what do you want to do? You want to hit the neshama, and the neshama is pure. Once the effects of the guf have been removed, there's no need to hit the neshama. That's what the Torah means. How many malchus are you supposed to get? 40. But once you've already distributed 39, the 40th one is not needed. Now take a look. Look at the Gurari. Look, the second to last line in number 14. Amnam nira ki bevadai hayaroi lokais arbaim keneged arbaim yom shel yitziras havlad. Really, it would be roi to give 40 malchus keneged the creation of the vlad. On the 40th day, the Vlad accepts the neshama. The first 39 days, God creates the body. Right? The Yitzhahara is in the guf. The guf needs the kapara. The neshama just sinned along as an accomplice. Anything attached to tama is tame like it. Ba'oidem aguf. Ulafikach amra Torah. Therefore the Torah says, Arboim yakenu, give 40. She'af haneshama she'im aguf chayv hamalkus. Does the neshama deserve malchus? Yeah. When it's attached to the guf, it deserves malchus. She'kol asher haneshama aguf shu achayti areu kamar kilal. But when achin kishamak and oisei lametes malchus, when you give 39 malchus, uvazeh shav yitziras haguf nakim achid. Once you've distributed 39 malchus and the guf is pure, because Chazal say once you get malchus v'nikla achicha le'einecha, you're pure, you're clean. Umemela nimtza haneshama tahira. Now the neshama is left the way it always was. It's pure. She'ein ba b'chisos ba'atzma. It has no inherent flaw. Right? When you do an avera, you're not affecting the neshama. Rak hasher hi mitzurefes aguf hachoite. And once the body is clean, the neshama is clean. So how many malchus do you need to give? 40. But once you've given 39, the 40th is no longer necessary. Another idea. Look at number 16. Right? This we learned in Brachas, Dav Zayin. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yosi. Toiva, Mardos, Achas, Belibai, Shaladam, Yoser, Mikama, Malkios. The one incrimination, the one teviyah, the one taina, the one krechts that a person gives in his heart, that he's not living up to the way he should, is more valuable to Hashem than all the malchus in the world. You hear that? The one self-makkah. The one time you criticize yourself internally has more value to Hashem even than all the malchus. So says the Divrei Yechezkel, look at number 18. He says like this. This is the Shin of a Rebbe. Says the Divrei Yechezkel. We have a dilemma over here. We have a dilemma. The dilemma is, how do we read the pasuk? Do we read the pasuk, give 40 malchus, don't add? Or do we read the pasuk, give 39 malchus, and don't add to the 39, because this way, if you give 39 and you don't add, so even if you do add, you'll only be giving 40 that he deserves anyway. In other words, how do we read the pasuk? Does the Torah want us to give 40 and not to add to the 40? Or does the Torah want us only to give 39, and this way even if you give 40, he's getting what he deserves? Says the Shin of a Rebbe. The same question that the Chizkuni asked. If we know B'chal HaTorah Kula Lo Yosef, that you're not allowed to add to the Torah, right? We know. You're never allowed. You're not allowed to have 5 Parshas in the tefillin. You can't take 5 minim. You can't wear 2 strings on one knaf. Why then does the Torah have to specifically say by Makis don't add? We know that already. You know what the Torah is saying? The Torah is saying there is a danger of adding by Malchus that does not present itself anywhere else. And what is that? The danger is, since Toiva, Mardus, Achas, Ba'adam, Yosem, Mikama, Malkios, since the Gemara tells us, the self-incrimination, the krecht, when a person criticizes himself, that is more valuable to God than all the makas in the world. So when the Torah says, give arba'im, you know what the Torah has to mean? Not don't give more than arba'im. The Torah has to mean don't give more than 39. Why? Because if you give 40, you are adding right there. How are you adding? I just gave 40. No. Because we know that this amount of makos is going to produce mardus achas believai shaladam. In other words, what's the purpose of the makos? Hashem just wants to smack you again and again and again. Hashem knows by giving this amount of makos, it's going to produce the one makah and believai shaladam. That is what God is looking for. He's not looking to hit you. He's looking for you to see your own flaws. He's looking for a person to give himself the musar. So you know what the Torah is saying? Arba'im yakenu. How? Give 39, and the 40th you give yourself. That's the toiva, mardus, achas, beliba shaladam, yeser mikam malchus. When the pshat in arba'im yakenu, you are giving 40. How? 39 the Bezdin gives, and 1 you give yourself. How do we know that's what the pasuk means? Maybe you give 40 real malchus. Pen Yosef! Because the Torah is saying if you give 40, you're adding right there. Why? Because maybe the guy is going to give himself Mardas Achas B'Liboy Shel Adam, and that will be number 41. So the reason the Torah specifically says Pen Yosef is to teach me that the meaning of Arboim is not Arboim, but rather it's 39, and the 40th one will let the person supply himself. Okay. Very interesting. One more thing, until we get to the Yom Nara. Take a look at in number 22. This is Targum Yonasan ben Uziel. Right, again, another Gemara in Brachos that says, Tanu Rabbanan La'olam Yashlim Adam Parshi Yosef Imat Tzibur. Shnayim Mikra V'yecha Targum. Daf Tes. Yeah, the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
La'olam Yashlim Adam Parshi Yosef Imat Tzibur.
The last.
Right, Chesam and Aleph, Chesam and Beis. Rabbi Glatstein, who wrote Targum Onkelos? Onkelos. Okay, I'm going to tell you a chiddush now. This is something I did not know until 2 weeks ago. Who wrote Targum Yonasan ben Uziel? Not Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel. Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, the Gemara says in Megillah, Yonasan ben Uziel wrote Targum on Nevi'im. Who wrote Targum Yonasan ben Uziel? The Chida writes in Maris Ha'ayin, in Megillah Daf Chavches, Targum Yonasan ben Uziel is Targum Yerushalmi.
Yeah.
So what's the Targum Yerushalmi in the Mikras Gedolos Chumash? It's a different nusach of the Targum Yerushalmi. Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, Chida says, was not written by Rabbi Yonasan ben Uziel. Not everyone agrees with this, but this is majority view.
So what is the emunim?
It's just meyuchas. It wasn't written by him. Chida says either it's from the Tanoim, not specifically Yonasan ben Uziel, or it's Targum Yerushalmi.
Maybe he compiled it.
Chida says no. I don't know. I wasn't there. Chida says no. Anyway, Targum Yonasan ben Uziel says like this. What does it mean, Arboim Yakenu? Arboim Yatzlif. B'chaser Chad Yalkina. 40 you should be Yatzlif, and -1 you should hit him.
Hit the ground with one.
What in the world does it mean, Yatzlif? We have a Mishnah in Yuma. Loi hoye miskavein lahazois. Loi lamala, loi lamala, ela kematzlif. What does Rashi say in Yuma? What does it mean, kematzlif? Rashi says, loi noidali. Have no idea. Says the Bnei Yissaschar.
The whip go.
Says the Bnei Yissaschar. Listen to what he says. You know what it means, Yatzlif? Targum Yonasan ben Uziel is bothered by a kasha. If Chazal understand you only give 39 malchus, so why does the Torah say Arbaim Yakenu? You know what Yatzlif means? You raise up your arm. You raise up. Not up, not down. That's what it means, like the person, remember, who didn't fix his fence that was breached on Shabbos. What does the Gemara say in Shabbos and Daf Kuf Nun? Sha'ala etzleit tzalaf. Tzalaf is a kind of plant that grows up but it doesn't reach the ground.
7 fruits.
So that's what it means, kamatzif. In other words, very interesting. Targum Yonasan ben Uziel says, Arboim Yakenu. We're not completely ignoring it. We're not throwing it out the window. There is something you have to do 40 times. What do you have to do 40 times? You got to pick up the whip 40 times, but what?
Don't hit.
We don't hit. So says Maral, that's why when we gave Malchus in Bezdin, how many Malchus did we give? 39. What pasuk did they say when they gave the Malchus? Behu, Rachum, Yechaper, Avoin, Veloy, Yashkes, Behirba, Lahashiv, Apoy, Veloy, Yair, Kol Chamasoi. God does not give all of his anger. How do we know that? We say V'hu Rachum 3 times, 39. But Kol Chamasoi. No, because that 40, what do you mean he did? Maybe he does give Kol Chamasoi. The Torah says 39. No. Torah says Arboim Yatzlif, the 40th time you pick up. But then, Lo Ya'ir Kol Chamasei. That represents God is Lo Ya'ir Kol Chamasei. So very interesting. We have from Rosh Chodesh Elul until Yom Kippur
40 days.
40 days. What's the pshat in 40 days? So one thing we could say is the 39 days of preparation for Yom Kippur is so that when Yom Kippur comes, we are able to hear Taiva, Mardos achas b'liboy shaladam. The purpose of Yom Kippur is for the person himself to do the tshuva. It takes the 39 days of tshuva, until finally we're able to hear our leiv saying, incriminating itself, doing tshuva. That's the Arba'im Yakenu. These are the 40 days of Elul. They're 40 days. But when you get to the 40th one, Yom Kippur, that's the best of all. That's Toiva Makas Mardos Achas B'liboy shaladam Yosem Mikol HaMalkus. But we could say even further. What did the Maral say? You have 40 malchus. The guf should get 40. 39 for the guf, 1 for the neshama. But once the guf is taken care of, the neshama is pure. What does the Ramban say about Yom Kippur? When the Satan sees Klal Yisrael on Yom Kippur, that ein by kina, ein by sinna, ein by sacharus, we're like Malachei Asharis.
No guf.
What happened? How? Really? We're like Malachei Asharis? How did that happen? Because as soon as you remove the influence of the guf through the 39 days leading up to Yom Kippur, makkah after makkah, tshuva after tshuva, where the guf is purified, and the raya is, what do we do every Yom Kippur? Every Yom Kippur we said, guf, this is for you, right? There's a mitzvah of achila, to signify the fact that we are now perfecting the guf through what the guf does. But Yom Kippur is kulei neshama. Yom Kippur, the ein by achila, v'lo shtia. It's Yom HaNeshama. The Yom HaNeshama, that's the day of tshuva. That's the day when the neshama stands by itself, and it's been rid of all the influences of the guf, so the neshama by itself is pure. That's what the Torah is telling us. Arba'im Yakenu. Really, you need to get 40 malchus. But once you've given 39 malchus, and you get to Yom Kippur, you get to the 40th, and you're pure, you're Kadosh V'Tar, the 40th one is no longer necessary. Bye, have a wonderful day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.